everybody. Nice to see you. Thanks for coming. Yeah, the Barton Creek Resort looked a lot different in 2015, and I definitely didn't have this hair color in 2015. But it's great to be here. Thanks for having me. Yes, so I get to be the person to sort of talk about what all is happening outside of the core world that we live in, at least professionally, and again, how that's going to impact the way people come to you, what they expect, all that stuff, how outside life affects the way that what they're going to expect from you. And I think the most important thing, and this is not going to come as a surprise to you guys, but it's not really what we do these days. It's not the product itself, it's the experiences that those products deliver, right? It's the way it makes you feel, whether that's good and bad and different, whatever it is. It's the experiences that are really driving people's engagement with us, and their stickiness to us as customers, as lifelong customers, hopefully, for you guys, for sure. So yes, as mentioned, I'm no longer a prophet. Seems change is the only constant in this world these days. My name is Lindsey Mosby. I am now with a small sort of tiger team, as we like to call ourselves, very seasoned at this point professionals who both have lived executive lives but just still really like doing the work. And we are very honored to work with a number of client partners who are looking to change themselves, transform themselves, either organizationally, through change management, vision, mission, purpose development, future casting, product and service innovation, whether you're looking to sort of transform in incremental or in big ways. We absolutely love being partners to those who are trying to do it differently and do it bigger and better. So first things first, let's level set and sort of do a quick look ahead. I'm not here to tell you your business. And I'm certainly not here to sort of tell you your business as it stands today. What I do hope to do is just open the aperture a little bit, again, from that outside perspective on what the possibilities are. What are these widespread consumer movements that are going to impact you guys, sort of, whether it's part of your core service offering or not. And one of the things that I always do in these conversations, whether it's with industry folks or clinical, like the payers and the providers of the world, is ground in who we're talking about, right? Like, let's call these lovely ladies here your next incoming class. They're not ready to live with you yet, but they're thinking about it, right? They're definitely beginning to go, okay, how's this all gonna work? And I think we can all agree that they would call themselves people. They would not call themselves old people. They wouldn't call themselves patients. They certainly wouldn't call themselves elders. They might be a target audience for you, but they are bringing, their own unique, nuanced, complex, good and bad life experiences. That's what they want to be treated. That's how they want to be treated by you, as those unique individuals, not as that target audience. So yes, it is all about the experience, full stop. We know that Uber completely upended an entire transportation industry because it provided a different experience. I know that I will buy Kraft macaroni and cheese over a generic. That doesn't really taste any better, but it's Kraft macaroni and cheese. I want that because that's my childhood. My kids are gonna buy Annie's, right? We know that experience and brand play an outsized role on the actual product itself. I'm gonna buy some bougie $4 coffee instead of a $1.50 cup of coffee because I like the way it feels in that store. So with that said, I wanted to focus on sort of 4 different macro trends. There's a million of them out there, but these I think have an outsized potential impact on your space. So one is engaged and empowered, right? We've all been walking around with smartphones. I've got my smart watch on. This is our daily norm at this point. We expect to be able to find anything, do anything at the drop of a hat. Closely related, smart, connected, and infinitely modular. Whether it's the house, whether it's, my connected car, whether it's the connected TV, we expect to be able to move between scenario to scenario in that sort of seamless way. I don't want to have to repeat what I just did. I don't want to have to refill out that form. I don't want to have to re-log in. All of those things are friction. I'm expecting it to be different at this point. It's hard, but it doesn't change the fact that that's what I expect. Anywhere and everywhere, kind of for better or worse these days, we are a globally connected community. Period. We are. I can speak to friends and colleagues across the planet via video conference in multiple different ways, free or paid. That's just a reality, and we can either sort of push against that fluidity Or we can think about, okay, if that is what it is, how do we harness that understanding of different cultural norms, different realities in different places, that ability to get to anywhere and share experiences across the miles. How might we harness that? And last but not least, and I don't want to talk about this in much at all because I think there's somebody actually specifically going to be talking about AI and IoT and 5G and all those things. But suffice it to say, we are definitely kind of we're at the new dawn of a thing with this artificial intelligence business, right? Like, I'm sort of, maybe not equally, but I'm on the one hand nervous and apprehensive about what all of this means, and then on the other hand, completely fascinated and kind of curious to see what's going to happen next. I mean, you know, suffice it to say, Dr. Google ain't got nothing on ChatGPT, right? Like, that is just, we're in a completely different ballgame. And what does that mean, right? What does that mean for unintended consequences? Yes, there's going to be a lot of those that we're going to have to figure out, but it also holds just incredible possibility for workforce supplementation, for, you know, a myriad of other things that we've just begun to start thinking about. So I'll jump into a couple of them. This is kind of an easy one and probably relatively expected. You know, decentralization and virtualization of care are just on the rapid rise. That's just a fact. Whether it's the fact that telehealth is 38 times what it was pre-pandemic and that's stabilized, whether it's the fact that CVS and Walgreens are pushing deeply into primary care, whether it's the fact that this is a screenshot of Philips Healthcare's command and control center that they're deploying out into, you know, hospital systems across the planet. What does that mean for senior living? What does the decentralization of your centralized space mean? What's that going to be for you? And how might you use technology and software and platforms to avail yourself of that ability to reach outside your physical walls? What's that going to mean for you? Data. There's a bunch of things in this one, but I think my beef with this, is, at least in the healthcare realm, is if financial services, which is a highly regulated, deeply private personal industry, holds my most important data, monetary data, if they can get my money all across the planet like a nanosecond, why can I not get healthcare records from one building in town to another building in town? I don't get it. Why? I know it's hard, but it's not because we can't do it. It's because we've decided, at least for now, that we are treating data as an owner, like we own it. Financial services treats data like they broker it. And if we can get to that place where we start thinking of our model as a brokerage and not an ownership, it's going to change the game. And it will absolutely upend the servers and the ethics of the world. We're going to release the high script that is held by, you know, the status quo as we see it today. Okay, that's kind of a little bit weird looking, but bear with me here. So biohacking, body hacking. Some of you have probably dug into this. If you do research on it, do so with care. With what you click on. But that being said, it is a very real thing. There are hundreds of conferences yearly that have people showing up, showing what they are doing to hack their own bodies. So whether you're a young person who does not have money or let alone insurance and you've got a hearing problem, there are hackers out there hacking hearing aids for you. We're opening doors. I've got a girlfriend who's got an RFID chip in her hand just because she wanted to see what she could do with it, right? I can open a door, I can turn on and off the lights, I can start my car. It's weird and it's play. This guy has got a GPS sensor implanted on his chest. It tells him when he's going true north. Like, I'm not exactly sure what the point is, but it buzzes, like it is whenever he's facing the right way. But it's a GPS system for him. He now has he's got a phone. He can get himself anywhere. And I think the interesting thing is that regulatory and mainstream players are catching up to this, right? Like, if you guys seen this, BioIntelligence, some of you have probably seen this. It's a real-time, 24/7 monitoring system, does post-acute condition monitoring, all that sort of stuff. Actually, CES, it got the 2023 Innovation Honoree Award. So that which was weird and creepy, packaged up differently, is a medical device doing the exact same thing. I kind of love this one. I think it's going to be really hard for those of us in the United States because we're a little weirded out by robots and all that sort of stuff. It has a much more negative connotation here than it does in other countries. But this is Sarah. There's somebody in the other room. There's a robot here. I was like, yes. We don't have enough caregivers. We don't have enough staff. Period. And we're not going to get enough staff anytime soon. It's just not happening. We're going to have to rely on robotics. We're going to have to rely on smart, systems to be able to fill that gap. And again, there's always unintended consequences, but I love the idea, and especially this one's called Sarah. She's not only looking for, like, did somebody fall down? If they hold hands, what's the BP? What's their temperature? All that sort of stuff. She is also looking for and listening for changes in vocal patterns. She's looking for expressions on faces to better understand not only the objective data about a human being, but that subjective data as well. Can we detect depression? Can we detect things that are on the mental health scale as opposed to just the physiological scale? Because we know those two are interconnected. And then this one is another one where I could get on the soapbox for forever, but if we can monitor every breath and the lactic acid breakdown and the dehydration quotient and how many minutes of sleep somebody needs for an elite athlete, why can we not do this for regular people? Why are we not doing this for regular people? If we know how much money is being spent, not wasted, but spent on healthcare that could be prevented, why are we not thinking about this? If anybody wants to partner and pilot a program, let me know. I will make that connection between Fitbit, Garmin, whomever. We will find a partner. This is a no-brainer. There is no reason we shouldn't be doing this. And it could either be done at home or it could be done in facility as well. So the last couple of things I'll say about this is, sci-fi, it might look like sci-fi, it doesn't stay sci-fi. This is 1968, Space Odyssey, right? Who would have thought that in the early 2000s, Samsung would be suing Apple because of patent infringement? Because they said Apple copied their Space Odyssey prototype of an iPad. I don't want to know what he's eating, by the way. That can't be good. Prosthetic limbs that actually have sensing, we have that. That was 1977. It's true. Frank and the Robot, have you guys seen this movie? Has anybody seen it? It's actually really good. So Frank Langella plays a retired con, and he's living at home, and his kids are worried about him, and so he can't, he needs to have somebody there, so they get him this robot, and he ends up teaching it how to rob banks, which is kind of hilarious. But if you think about what I was just showing a minute ago, if this is 2012, we're well on our way. We're well on our way. Joaquin Phoenix and Her, how many of us say, hey Google, hey Alexa? I'm not going to say the other one because she will ask me what I need. We do that constantly, right? We do that all day long. Think about the impact of generative AI on this. We just took a giant leap closer to having someone in your ear and having a conversation with you. If I can type that into my computer, it's just a quick step and you can actually put that in my ear. And of course, last but not least, who knows what this is from? Marty McFly. Okay, these aren't mainstream yet, but there are hoverboards. If you want to see an absolutely hilarious video of Tony Hawk and Johnny Knoxville from Jackass trying out an actual hoverboard, you can look it up online. It works. It's a real thing. And what I loved was that the founders talked not about the fact that it was a hoverboard, but they were talking about how might we use this technology to actually solve real and pressing, important problems. So it's a toy, but what's the extended value? What is the extended application of that thing? So I want to leave you with just a couple of extra pieces. I know you know about the caregiver. I know that you know they need you, and I can only imagine that you're thinking about them constantly. I wanted to share just a couple of stories with you with some actual in their own words from caregivers, not because I don't think you don't know they need you, but maybe just to sort of highlight and reiterate the fact that it's still hard for them to get anything that they need. They still just feel, sort of alone, under supported. They don't know where to go for things. They're increasingly frustrated. And in many instances, just unnoticed, which is probably the worst way to feel, especially when you're in the middle of something with an aging parent or family member that you really, really care about. So I've got 4 little stories. This first one, I'd like you to meet Wendy. Wendy is one of my very dearest friends. We've been friends for years. She is a high-powered nonprofit executive. She is raising 2 boys on her own. She was the sole caregiver for her mother for 10 years before moving her into an assisted living facility. She is one of the most gracious human beings I've ever met in my life, and she is supremely frustrated.
Well, what they will say is, of course we're going to do it. Of course we're going to be there. Of course we're going to, we're committed. We love Miss Judy. Miss Judy is wonderful. Everybody loves Miss Judy. We're going to be there. Of course we're going to do this. And then I get a frantic phone call at 11:30 on a Saturday morning saying nobody's been there in 24 hours and she hasn't gotten her meds. And so I get in the car and I drive over on 11:30 on a Saturday morning, and we'll, go in there and get her meds, give her her meds, help her change her clothes, help her take a shower. I will do whatever the things are that they're supposed to do. And then I go to the office and I lose my shit. Yeah. And I am the mean one, right? And then my brother calls a couple hours after that, and he's the nice one. And we have this, it's like the entire family has their roles. Bob is the nice one that calls and says, I know you guys are doing your best, but we really need to ensure this. I'm the one who storms in and says, I am paying for this service. What the hell is going on? It feels sometimes like a sales technique where they will say, if she really needs this, it might be beyond our care. She might need to move into the next building. And at the same time, they promise they're going to deliver these services. And the answer always is, we're so sorry, we're short-staffed.
Meet Dhruva and his mother, Mrs. Ganesan. Dhruva and his brother are caring for their mom. Their dad passed away. She has severe dementia. I think this story is about a family that has kind of everything they need, right? They're financially fine. He's supremely technology gifted. He is the chief design officer at a Fortune 50 financial services firm. He's got everything he needs, so you would think. And he still can't find the stuff that he needs to be able to navigate this with his mom. He's like, I don't know where to go.
It's a very feasible thing to do, to kind of equip caretakers with here's the training that you need. This is how to think about your finances. This is what to anticipate in terms of the path of this condition, which is obviously different from everybody. It's a barrage, right? Especially at first, where it's like, oh my God, people are just coming from a caring place, but it's so stressful where you're having 100 conversations a week, and I'm just trying to get by. I think there could be this kind of onboarding to being a dementia caretaker package, that is very doable and highly valuable.
It probably exists. We didn't want to find it. So to him, it doesn't exist, right? Next, I want you to meet Karen and Ashley and their mother. Karen and Ashley are both in their mid to late 20s. I think this is something we're going to be seeing more and more of as people are delaying having kids and having fewer kids. That population of caregivers is going to be less established. They're not going to have the kind of wallet that an older parent that's now taking care of a family member would have. And they are increasingly diverse. They come from many, many different backgrounds.
When my friends start becoming caregivers, just given the parents, the age of their parents, I think they're going to be in their 30s as opposed to in their 40s, and they're not going to have homes. Your general pool of your caregivers, even outside of the one-offs, Ashley and I, are going to be a lot younger. And I also think that we're a lot more diverse of a group. So having caregiving resources and caregiving communities that understand those cultural nuances is so important. It sounds so dumb, but a big victory for me and Ashley is a caregiver who knows how to make chai. If you know how to make Indian food or make food my mom will that is huge.
And last but not least, this is Beverly. She and her husband took care of her mother. She passed away, severe dementia and Alzheimer's. And you're going to hear my voice in this particular clip, and I don't play it. It ain't about me. But I wanted you to hear what she said because I found it poignant and just a little heartbreaking that this is what she said.
Thank you for listening to me as I tell this story, because you're the first person that I've ever gone through the whole thing with. And it's good for me to talk about it. It felt good to just say some of the things.
Thanks for sharing.
Okay. Thank you, Lindsey.
All righty. Take care.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You can hear she was starting to cry, right? And again, it's not about me. And I know you talk to people, I know you ask them their stories, but I guess the important thing here is there's still just enormous possibility to meet need that is already really, really well known, right? Like, you know what people really need. You've heard it, you live this every day. And there are, in as much as we are in an age where it feels like everything is on fire, I also feel like there's just incredible possibility and potential in the age that we're living in right now. And if you can find space, if you can get quiet, if you can find your best and brightest and the brains and the hearts that you want around you, and you take that time to think forward about where you can go and about what you can do, there's absolutely a business model to be made for doing the right thing. There absolutely is. It's hard, it's difficult, but I hope that you find that space and that time to actually do the really good and fulfilling work of figuring out how to fill a need. Because again, it's not the product that you're delivering. It's not the house, it's not the room. It's how you make those people feel. It's how you engage those families. It's how you engage those extended communities. Maybe last but not least, the future isn't somewhere we go. I think the future is something that we create. And I would offer, if you keep creating great experiences, the rest will take care of itself. So thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, Lindsey.